The Traditional Council has appealed to President Akufo-Addo to assist in resolving the current stalemate in the chieftaincy affairs of the Ga State, which has left it without a recognized overlord for over 13 years. A delegation which called on the President to Jubilee House described as troubling the failure of the Ga State to successfully appoint an undisputed successor to the last Gamanche Niamugi. Though a number of claimants have emerged, the authority has always been challenged by others. Spokesperson for the council, Ni Otu Blafo, said a commission of inquiry could be established to determine the most suitable heir.
The Ga State has been without a Gamanche. Occasionally, there have been skirmishes of presence or emergence of Gamanche. But this has always ended up in the law courts, judicial committees of the Traditional Council, Regional House of Chiefs, National House of Chiefs, the High Courts, and lately the Supreme Court. Some members of the council have even been convicted for alleged contempt of court for failing to do certain things. But this is not the forum for us to be arguing on these things. But I must say, on behalf of the council, that the Ga State is threatened because for 13 years, this is the 14th year since the death of Boni Niamugi II, we have no substantive Gamanche. There have been several violent clashes because of the absence of a Gamanche. Today, as we stand here, there have been about 3 claimants claiming to be Gamanche, one of whom has been gazetted in the National Register of Chiefs, but which in itself is also being challenged. It looks like there's not going to be any end. And since the death of Niamugi, we've never had any fruitful and successful Homowo festival celebration being led by the Gamanche of Ga. Your Excellency, we would not bore you with the problems of the Ga State pertaining to the Gamanche, but we believe that notwithstanding all the skirmishes going up and down, there's a way out for which we humbly pray that under the powers conferred on the President of the Republic of Ghana under Article 278, Your Excellency has the power in such a threatening situation which seeks to disturb the stability of the state to commission an inquiry that shall be chaired by a justice of the Supreme Court or preferably alternatively a retired justice of the Supreme Court who may be well versed in causes or matters affecting chieftaincy. We believe that with the emergence of a commission of inquiry, the problem of the Ga State will come to a close. The truth will be told, and we will know which houses are ruling houses and whose turn it is to emerge as a Gamanche. This matter will be brought to a closure and would be so grateful to His Excellency if this is done.
Ni Otu Blafo also called for elevation of some chiefs in the Ga State to their rightful positions.
As far back as 22nd of September 1998, the late Boni Niamugi II, the Gamanche, had made a proposal by elevating all the 12 divisional stools of the Ga State to paramountcy. In the letter he addressed to the Regional House of Chiefs at the time, which subsequently went to Kumasi, for 9 years, there were deliberations until 2007 when the Regional House of Chiefs fully endorsed it. The purpose and content of his letter of September 1998 was to ensure that in elevating the 12 stools of the Ga State, he shall be the overlord. That is the first among equals, even though all of them are paramount chiefs. What has happened? Through some process unknown to the Ga Traditional Council and its members, the National House of Chiefs have elevated 5 stools, namely Tema, Nungwa, La, Osu, and Ingleshi Alata, where you have been elevated to a chieftaincy position. So it is left with 7 who are still divisional councils. But for now, there is no Gamanche. But when there is a Gamanche, we'll have a problem because the Ga state is disintegrating gradually by virtue of the fact that 5 out of the 12 divisional councils have been elevated to paramount stools. And they have virtually seceded from the Ga Traditional Council because they owe no allegiance to any Gamanche. But the question is, who is the Gamanche? The Gamanche is the king of the Gas. Therefore, if you are from Tema, Nungwa, La, Osu, or Ingleshi Alata, and you are a Ga, and you do not believe that you owe allegiance to the Gamanche, it's an unfortunate situation. The way out is what Ni Amugi recommended about 20 years ago. Elevate all the divisional stools to paramountcies, and let the Gamanche be the first among equals as the overlord of the Gas, and let it be put in action by promulgation of a law to back that.
President Akufo-Addo indicated he will be guided by the constitutional provision in resolving chieftaincy matters.
The situation today whereby we have witnessed this constant struggle for these last 13, 14 years since the death of Ni Amugi for succession to his stool is very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. And one would have hoped that by now, the institutions of our country which deal with such issues would have acted. And what do I mean? The present setup in Ghana is that when there's a chieftaincy dispute, it's handled by the judicial committees of the various traditional councils. Committee of the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs has not been able to settle this matter, which has brought you here asking the President to use his powers under Article 278 to appoint a commission of inquiry. It may be that that is a good thing, but the commission of inquiry will not have the power to declare royalty in the way in which the Judicial Committee can. And that's what the law says, that any dispute about royalty, about right to the stool, is dealt with by the Judicial Committee. So this plea that you have made is something that myself and my legal advisors will have to sit down and look at, because I understand what is behind it, that you want a situation whereby there's closure to this matter, so that long after we have left here, there's a document that has been agreed upon which tells you how and who are eligible to occupy the Ga state. But it's a very serious request. I understand what is behind it, and I'm going to give it very serious consideration, and very soon you'll hear from me what is the result of my considerations.
Elsewhere, the Volta Region Commander of the Ghana Police Service, DCOP Ebenezer Francis Doku, says an independent body may need to look into the immediate and remote causes of a recent shooting incident at Alavanyo in the Volta region, which resulted in the death of 4 persons, including a 70-year-old man. According to DCOP Doku, the proposal came up during a meeting of the Regional Security Council after the shooting incident, which the police claim was a crossfire between the military detachment unit there and police on one hand and some residents of Alavanyo. DCOP Doku was addressing the media at the regional headquarters of the service in Ho.
Independent body will set up to investigate the remote and immediate causes of the incident. And just as the meeting was going on in Owe, there was information from Kwebe, Alavanyo, that the people were firing at the military. And the military had to return fire. In the process, one soldier was hit in the foot and is on admission at the 7 MRS medical facility at the 66 Artillery in Hu. Commander of the detachment felt that in the interest of peace and for the security of the men he had gone there with, they needed to truncate the negotiation and push it to maybe another time. As they were coming out of the palace, they noticed that their men who were kept in the vehicle were under attack. And so quickly, they rushed to join the vehicle so they could leave the town. As they were joining the vehicle, they were heckled. And the groups that came around, they came in different groups. The groups that came around had very sophisticated weapons. Some of them had AK-47, M16, SMG, and all manner of weapons. In fact, listening to the detachment commander, it tells you that the people have armed themselves so well, to the extent that if care is not taken, one day when there is complete breakdown of law and disorder, the loss of lives that will occur will be uncountable. And so in the process, as they were leaving, they had to fire back in order that they could have their peace to drive through. And a lot of obstacles were also put on the route. They cleared as many as 5 obstacles before they finally got out of town. Later in the evening of the same day, around 9 p.m., news went around that 2 people had died out of the crossfiring and 6 others have been injured. The injured were rushed to the hospital at Kwandu, precisely St. Margaret Market Hospital. And yesterday, the 2 dead bodies were brought into the mortuary.
The Chief Justice, Ladyship Sophia Akuffo, has declared as unfit a newly refurbished magistrate court offered by the Wassa East District Assembly in the Western Region. Explaining her directive to the District Chief Executive, Madam Sophia Akuffo said the facility is below the requisite standard of the Judicial Service and lacks the confidentiality that the court requires. Natalia Kwanson's report.
The CJ made the observations after she commissioned the court on Monday as part of a 6-day tour in the Western region to acquaint herself with operations of the service in the region. Her leadership, Sophia Akuffo, has therefore given the Wassa East District Assembly up to the end of February to give her feedback on the reconstruction of a new magistrates court.
We are making do. This is not the court we want. And so you should already be thinking of another location, or can be anywhere near here. And then you do it the way you want it. And then it becomes, because that's the other thing, we want to standardize. So if a stranger walks into a small town, they see the court, they know this is the court, simply from the shape. Yes. So, and the way because as it is, places that should be confidential are too open to the public.
The district chief executive, Wilson Arthur, who says he was expecting a pat on the back from the Chief Justice, said he was disappointed and will convert the facility to be used as a police station and later think of how to mobilize funds to build a befitting magistrates court.
As it is, I couldn't stand there and promise that I'm going to build a new courthouse. I have to take it through the processes. But see, this one was built quite recently. We inherited it. When we came, it was in bad state, but we renovated it and then finished it. And we thought that it's one of the best, courthouses in Ghana. So when he was coming, I was expecting to say that, oh, your place is better than a high court, But she said structurally the offices are too exposed. All those comments have been taken.
So the question now is, until a new facility is built, where will the Wassa East Magistrates Court sit? Perhaps they will continue in the Assembly's chamber.
And then the bridge just about a week before Christmas.
We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime, but still ahead as efforts begin to seek the extradition of Men's Gold CEO Nana Akua Mensah to Ghana from the United Arab Emirates. A lawyer for some of the company's aggrieved customers is describing his arrest in another country as a blessing in disguise. And in business, Agric Ministry partners Chinese retail platform JD to market Ghana's cocoa products. And then in the second hour, we will engage the Association of Ghana Industries on their expectations ahead of the upcoming tariff review by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. Also in the bulletin, a footbridge over a section of the George Walker Bush Highway. Authorities say they have completed works or repair works on the footbridge over a section of the George Walker Bush Highway, which partially shifted after a truck ran into it. Stay tuned, we'll be back in a bit. Road engineers are advocating stricter punishment for recalcitrant motorists who abuse road traffic regulations. This comes as the Ghana Highway Authority moved in to fix portions of a footbridge at the Jawulu end of the N1 highway, which had shifted out of position and was almost falling apart. Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Highway Authority, Diana Siade, tells Komla Adom major repair works have been completed, assuring the other minor fittings will be done in the coming days. But she's worried motorists are abusing the height limit on the roads.
Major work has been done, and we will complete the rest in the shortest possible time. We will continue to work on the smaller things that are left.
And the smaller things that are left, which I suspect is the metal railings, which some of which have also not been exactly straightened. How soon will work be done?
It will be worked on. I mean, we told you a few days, but we were able to finish this one in hours.
There's been concern that this particular footbridge and many others do not have the height limits that indicated on it, so that vehicles which overload know that beyond this height limit, they cannot use the footbridge.
Standard height limit is 4.5. But if you go to the bridge and measure the vertical height, it's 5. That means the institution has even given an allowance of 0.5. And those truck drivers know. So we have even given an allowance of 0.5.
Is there a plan to constantly monitor so that some of these truck drivers who flout these height limits can be caught and dealt with?
Enforcement basically lies with the police. We may go through with them, but it lies with the police, the MTTD. And I can bet you we've been working with them for years, maybe perhaps before I was born. We've been working with them. So the question we should be asking is, at what point do those truck drivers manage to top up? We can't be everywhere, but the police, there's a visibility. The police is on the road, and they are doing their best. So there's just a problem with citizens themselves. These truck drivers have to obey the rules and regulations.
Komla Adom, who visited the area and brought us the report of the defect on Sunday, went back to the site, and here is what he found.
On Sunday, when we visited this particular footbridge on the Noga Hill end of the N1 highway, we noticed that these two concrete slabs had shifted out of position from one another. We noticed that as a result of a crash into the center deck of a footbridge, according to what the Ghana Highway Authority tells us, the center deck of a footbridge shifted out of position. A couple of days on, we are learning that the engineers from the Ghana Highway Authority were here in the wee hours of Tuesday to ensure that that particular problem is fixed. Also, on Sunday when we were here, this metal railing which stands upright here had its other components shifting out of position. Now we see that these two metal railings are now aligned in position, but there appears to be a problem. That is the non-alignment of this particular end of the metal railings right here on the footbridge. Some residents we've been speaking to are concerned about what appears to be the disparity in the alignment of the metal railings up here. Even though they are happy engineers moved in swiftly to fix the shifted portions of a footbridge.
This is my route every day. I pass it every day. Even as I was coming this afternoon, I was praying that God, you bear me in your hand, there is nothing will happen when I'm passing here. So what I will say is that if we can have people that can do it for us properly, look at the bridge the way it is. Even the stone is getting spoiled, not to talk of the bridge that is, shifting, and we can see some crack at the middle. So I will urge the government or who is in power to help us and do this thing properly.
Is that because of the way now they're not here?
We've seen that they have moved in to do some work here and realign the concrete slabs, but that is not enough.
But if you are now, alignments now, saying shifts, fixing shifts, you are not satisfied.
But still, and this is first,
We want them to come and fix the entire pavement and all the metal railings as well.
Then I'm open to me.
Cross the main road, but I don't know.
I had told my friend we should cross the main road because we were unsure about the safety of a footbridge.
I said, I am as if I never theater. Well, roads engineer Abdullah Muhammad says motorists whose actions cause distraction to some of these road installations must be made to face severe sanctions.
Punitive measures ought to be meted out to recalcitrant motorists. That is the first thing that we have to do. We have to deter people from just abusing the road regulations, i.e. Vertical height loading. I'm happy that the GHA had moved in quickly, rectified the anomaly. They have gone by the international standard. The vertical height of every vehicle should not exceed 4.5 meters. The GHA, in their wisdom, have even gone 0.5 of a meter in addition to the 4.5. We need to pin our complaint to the MTTD. You see, the Ghana Highway Authority cannot effect arrest. If they get any information as to some recalcitrant or indisciplined drivers going in to hit the footbridges, they can only report. And in this case, those who are mandated by law to effect arrest and then process such recalcitrant drivers to the courts are the police. One of the things that we have to do is that we need to get some of these information, either the telephone or the contact of this mobile police known to pedestrians and residents within this neighborhood, so that when there's any impact quickly, they could just trace the vehicle and then inform the next temporary or highway patrol station so that they can track this vehicle.
All right, we're taking a break to bring you business news now. And coming up in business, Agri Ministry partners Chinese retail platform JD to market Ghana's cocoa products. And then in the second hour, we will engage the Association of Ghana Industries on their expectations ahead of the impending review of electricity tariffs by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. Do stay tuned. Now, government's high-power delegation led by Deputy Attorney General Joseph Dindiok Pemka and security agencies are expected in the United Arab Emirates to seek extradition to Ghana of Menzgold CEO Nana Pia Mensah to face charges of defrauding by false pretense and money laundering. But even before that, law lecturer at the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration Justice, Sremsai, believes government's attempt to get them one released will be purely based on diplomacy because Ghana does not have an extradition treaty with the UAE.
It is the fact that from December 7 to now he's still working out his bail conditions also means that then it's a serious matter. And being a serious matter, that is where the challenge for the Deputy Attorney General is. If it's a serious matter as we think it is, then it will be very difficult for you, almost impossible, because their law says that one of the reasons why they may not allow someone to be extradited to another country is when he's facing criminal trial within UAE. Okay. So, and that I don't think will be negotiable. There is a leeway, which is that you can find a leeway in that, which is that you may enter into an undertaking with them that you allow you to take him, and when you finish dealing with him, you bring him back. I mean, who does that? Yeah, so in theory, that is possible, but in practice, it's challenging to say that someone who is being pursued for this amount of money in UAE will be allowed to go to Ghana and then solve Ghanaian problem and suspend UAE citizens' problem, and then when you are through with him, you bring him back. It's a tall order. The problem is money problem. Why we are assuming that the only way we can solve the problem, or the best way we can solve the problem, is to bring him, to get him. Okay. I mean, we know from white-collar crime, it's not like you are taming some felon. It's someone who is not harmful to anybody physically. It's the money we want. Yeah. So if you bring him and we still don't have the money, the guys on the street are not going to sleep. No. And the chaos we are experiencing, which is looming, will still be there. So
your point is that his businesses are still functioning right now?
Yes, some of them are functioning.
Some of them are functioning.
Yes. So my point is, why won't you put more effort at retrieving whatever is left? Okay. And even possible tracing what we can trace than
spending the effort in trying to repatriate it.
One human, because if the Deputy Attorney General, can lead a delegation to Dubai just to bring him, why can't we do the same thing? What we have the Attorney General, we have the Registrar General, we have Bank of Ghana, we have Lands Commission, we have SEC, and all these institutions are capable of tracking his assets. So,
well, an international relations expert, Vladimir Ntwidanso, is ever confident Ghana's efforts to extradite the Immense Gold CEO from the United Arab Emirates will be successful. Speaking on the AM show, Professor Vladimir Ntwidanso based his optimism on the warm relations between the two countries.
We have several instances in international relations where you have the host country not wanting to even give up the fugitives. Snowden is a typical example. Assange is another example. Pinochet was arrested in London. And there are several instances. Garland is holding on in the U.S., and it depends on the relationship between the two countries. Luckily for us, I think we have very good relationship with the Emirates. And the delegation, the composition of the delegates tells you our readiness to do everything possible. The Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, who will be there to look at the nuances in the legal, whatever it is that will be there. You have the CID, you have the Ghana office, Interpol being represented, and so if it is Interpol which apprehended him, then you don't have a problem at all. So I'm very happy about the composition, and I'm very happy also because what is going to happen is not going to have any fight. We aren't going to have any fight with the Emirates. In this case, I can assure you it's not going to be a difficult thing at all. In international relations, especially in diplomacy, scratch my back, I scratch your back. They may. For example, let us assume that it were the Americans or the Russians or the Chinese. They would necessarily ask for something in return. Using the salami method, you give something small in expectation of something big. In diplomacy, you don't give anything away without taking anything. I would not be any way surprised that there is something that NAM would trigger something which would never come into the public domain. Absolutely.
Right.
Well, a lawyer for some of the aggrieved customers of Immense Gold, Amanda Clinton, says she sees the arrest of Namuan in another country as a blessing in disguise. She was speaking on The Pulse.
As a lawyer as well, I would have to speak about, ironically, Namuan's human rights. It might actually be very dicey for him to come to the country because he might be lynched. So even as a lawyer, I would appreciate that. So this UAE arrest has in a way very much been a blessing in disguise, because I've always said if Ghana wasn't willing to cull the resources and kept on talking about taxpayers' money, even though nobody asked them to use taxpayers' money, if they weren't willing to cull resources and assets, it was for international people to give an example. And no offense, right now we've just lost jurisdiction. Do you see what I mean? So this UAE arrest, in a strange way, has been a blessing in disguise, because I wouldn't want him in the territory.
How is that a blessing for your clients?
It's a blessing because...
If you're right that UAE has first dibs, and thereafter about 53 million that they claim he...
If the charge is substantiated, yes.
How do your clients benefit from the fact that they are not likely to let him go?
Our clients benefit because, really, to tell you the truth, this is kind of commercial. It's really not about, this sort of criminal aspect of make sure he spends time in jail. It's never been about that. It's always been about the money.
How are you going to get the money if
But the thing is, if we start having this sort of international dialogue, exchange of information, Interpol, Ghana, Interpol Global getting involved, etc. There's some level of transparency that is beyond our borders in terms of different parties have different vested interests. And with that transparency comes the ability to see what money moved from where and what should go back where. And if money is offshore and onshore. I mean, if Ghana Interpol had done this, we would have even found out if there was money offshore.
And Showbiz is up next. Now, the auctioning of Menzgold's office in the Ashanti region capital, Kumasi, has been suspended following a dispute over the ownership of the property. Collins Kwabena Bedu showed up with an interpleader claiming ownership of the property situated on plot 6 at Amakum Brutia. The push for the sale of the building is one of the limited options clients of embattled Menzgold. Frustrated over the failure of the company to refund their investments, have resorted to Henry Daku, who has obtained a judgment to sell off assets of Menzgold as 22,500 cedis at Menzgold. Love News' Erastus Asaridonko has been following this development and joins me with the latest. So Erastus, explain what the dispute over the sale of the property is.
Well, so we had one Henry Daku filing a suit against Menzgold early this year, and he won a judgment in his favor. He was actually seeking an order to recover 22,500 Ghana cedis he invested with Menzgold. And he got a judgment, and the court added an interest of 302.25 Ghana cedis and 2,000 Ghana cedis cost. So in total, Menzgold was to pay 24,802 Ghana cedis by close of day today, or have the offices at Patase and Amakum auctioned to defray this cost. Now we have one Collins Kwabena Bedu of plot number 6, Amakum Abrutia Kumasi, filing an interpleader claiming that the said building at Amakum does not belong to Menzgold. He rented it out to them, and that he is the rightful owner of that building. And so by filing this interpleader, the court has put on hold all the processes leading to the auction of the two said properties. They have served lawyer of Henry Daku, the plaintiff, Ni Amui, asking him to file a response, whether he wants to contest this claim or he agrees to it. Based on the determination, then the court will decide whether to still go ahead with the auction or not. Now, let me also state that one Nanga Christopher N has also filed a writ of summons against Menzgold and is yet to be heard. In fact, it will be heard on the 24th of this month. Now, he is also seeking an order to recover an amount of 24,000 Ghana cedis with interest. And he says he invested this amount on 27th of August 2018 with Menzgold, and that he wants the court to retrieve this money for him. And so Menzgold, as per a response I have also seen, is saying that it admits liability that it owes this gentleman, but it cannot pay because the Securities and Exchange Commission and Bank of Ghana brought in some directives which restricts Menzgold from operating in order to raise money to pay him. And so that's the response filed. But the case will be heard on the 24th of January.
All right, thank you very much, Erastus Asaridonko, bringing us that update there. Moving on to other stories. 2 people believed to be members of a syndicate which produces fake DV vehicle registration plates have been arrested. They were picked up in a special operation following a collaborative effort between police and lab firm in Kumasi. It is the second such arrest in a crackdown. Nasen Sumensa witnessed the arrest in our report.
It is imagined 2 or more vehicles could have the same DV registration on the streets of Kumasi or Accra. Personnel of the Police Motor Transport and Traffic Directorate used to restrain movement of vehicles with DV plates from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. On January 6, 2018. However, the Inspector General of Police, Asante Apietu, in an internal memo, reminded all commanders on road traffic regulations to support such enforcement. Meet Kweku Dankwa, an accredited DV registration plate retailer. He buys the plate from Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority for sale to vehicle owners and sellers. He explains how the influx of the duplicate DV plate is affecting his business.
DV plate, you know, uko DVL, almost the money 230. But before so over 230, this all will be a business certificate. Now with your tax or tax grant.
Before one can sell DV plates, you need tax clearance, business certificate and other documents. The cost of production of a pair of DV plates is almost 350 cedis, but the fake ones are sold at 250 and 280 cedis. This is really affecting our business.
350 Ghana. And so plate in a big 280, 300. And to almost Tobiano, one casa, one out tono crama who say. The old Tony is fake and I say a original. Marco DVL, and your DVL container anymore. DVL office and Kasawa cry. Add me documents are called DV plates. The Muya say, plate the man may know, every bobby carho. Our brother made the other came. Namen Tiasie, and to me report to my police. And our police also, Abachini Pakra investigation.
Duplication of the registration numbers denies the state revenue, which ends up in private pockets as a result. A joint effort of police, DVLA and LAVFM led to the arrest of 2 persons suspected to issuing fake number plates to vehicle owners. They are currently assisting police investigation. Ashanti Regional Director of DVLA, George Afo, confirms his outfit is aware of the illegality, but efforts to track the perpetrators have been unsuccessful.
Yeah, we are always very suspicious of the fact that people are duplicating the police. We sometimes engage the national security apparatus to assist in tracking some of these miscreants in the society, but to no avail.
He tells Love News he's uncomfortable about the alleged fraudulent activities which deny the agency revenue.
For instance, 2014, DVLA was able to sell about 30,000 DV plates. Coming down the line, 2015, 2016, 2017, and even 2018, there's a sharp decline in the sales of our DV. Why? Because of this influx of this fake duplicating DV plate that floods the market. And it's having a telling effect on the revenue generation aspect of DVLA.
Nana Asensu Mensah reporting.
Now, capturing and killing of sea turtles has become a booming business in the Keta and South Tong district of the Volta region. This situation, officials say, is forcing the species into extinction. Volta region correspondent Ivy Setoji has more in the following report.
Sea turtles are becoming extinct, but many fishermen in Keta are ignorant about this reality. They capture and kill the creatures at the time the females deposit their eggs. The executive director of the non-governmental organization Development Institute, Ken Kinney, says it is time government made an effort to deal with the situation. Joy News visited Plowotoko in the Keta municipality. Most of the fishermen engaged in the turtle business are from here. According to Ken Kinney, the Office of the Wildlife in the area lacks basic equipment to work effectively. He believes government must, as a matter of urgency, help resource the office to fight the illegal activities in the area.
Wildlife office here is not resourced. They don't have logistics. They don't even have motorbikes to chase and cars to be able to chase people who are doing these activities. So we are appealing to Ghanaians, we are appealing to government to resource this particular office, not only with equipment, but also people. They should employ more people to support the work that is going on here.
Wildlife trafficking has a devastating impact on the biodiversity of all countries in the world. Due to illegal poaching, the loss of wildlife has risen drastically in West Africa over the decades. Manager of the Keta Lagoon Complex site, Karim Abdul Salifu, said more needs to be done by both authorities and communities in the protection of sea turtles.
We are always on the radio warning them about the consequences of being seen killing this reptile. Some of the community members are helping us in this work, but there are others who have said they will not stop this work. Currently, as I speak to you, we have 3 cases at the police station, and they are preparing them for the Anglonga District Magistrate Court.
Okay, so if they don't stop, what would you do?
Yeah, if they don't stop, and those who are perpetrating this kind of crime, once we get you, we'll take you to the police station, and then they take you to the court.
Ivy Setoji's report for Joy News.
All right, and we're taking a break now to bring you the second hour of business, or the second part of business. And in this segment, we're having the Association of Ghana Industries. We're engaging the Association of Ghana Industries on their expectations ahead of the upcoming tariff review by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. So Sandra S. Namafenu returns. Do stay tuned for that. She comes up in a bit.